Today, what happens if the law of sines doesn't work? What if I don't have enough information for law of sines? It's going to happen. I give you a triangle, I give you information, I'm looking for a side or an angle in that triangle, and you're not going to be able to use law of sines for whatever reason. So number one, let's get it set up, triangle RST. RST, you will start seeing that I'm starting to use my own symbolism that I showed you before break. Lowercase r is 11, so we're like, hey, lowercase r means side r, which is across from angle r. So across from angle r is 11, so I'm probably not going to call it ST. I'll probably call it angle r, or just lowercase r is 11. Side S is 12, and then angle T is 120 degrees. And we are in charge of finding side T to the nearest whole number, integer. Perfect. All right. I'm going to try to set up, you guys please don't try to set up law of sines. I'm going to try to set it up and watch what happens. Watch what happens to me. So I'm like, all right, feeling good. Little law of sines for you. Here we go. I got side T. I can put that over the sine of 120, right? Everyone's good there. All right, let me get another side. 11 over sine sine. I got a problem. I don't have an angle. Everyone agrees? At home too? I don't have an angle to put there. All right, what if I used 12 instead? All right, 12 over, run into the same problem. So does everyone see law of sines useless? Useless here, can't use it. Can't force it. It's not a right triangle either, so sine, cosine, tangent, no go. Can't use anything I've shown you so far in this unit. One more formula today, and that is called the law of not sines, but law of cosines. It is written up above, so let me just jot it down here. A squared equals B squared plus C squared. Again, A, B, and C right there, all three sides of your triangle. That's what A, B, and C represent, the three sides of the triangle. I just got to teach you where to put in what side. But A, B, and C, three sides of the triangle. Minus 2BC, B and C, same as the B and C for B squared and C squared. Whatever number we plug in for B, I plug it in again for B. Times the cosine of one of the angles in the triangle. You will see me get real fired up today about this. In the law of cosines, everyone sees A, B, and C. But sometimes the triangle isn't ABC, is it? Like, look at number one. It's RST. So what I need to show you guys is what exact sides need to go in where. Let's start with the end of the formula. Everyone see, you're going to plug in the cosine of angle A. Okay, that's angle. Anybody see an angle A in number one? No, me neither. So what that represents, A, is the given angle in the problem. You will always be given at least one angle in the problem. So angle A is the given angle. Whatever angle is given in the problem, that's what I'm going to plug in for A. You'll at least have one angle that's given. Now, let me go to A squared here, the left side of the formula. That's the side across from my angle. Here's capital A, which is angle A. Here's lowercase a, which is the side across. So whatever side, this is going to be the side across from the given angle. I can't stress this enough, everyone. It is not side A. It's whatever side is across from the given angle in the problem. So there's one side of the triangle. The other two sides are going to be your B and C values. Other two sides of the triangle are your B and C values. So there is what's called the law of cosines. And I know the question will come up sooner or later today. No, I will not give it to you on the test. All right, I will not give you the law of sines, and I will not give you the law of cosines. If you want to use it, you're responsible for it. All right, what do you say? Let's plug in the numbers now. All right, what am I going to plug in for A? Well, what angle am I given in the problem? What's the given angle? 120, angle T. What's the side across from it? T. So I'm going to start this formula off with T squared. The side across from the given angle is the first number I plug in, or variable that I plug in. Equals. B and C are my other two sides, which are 11 and 12. So T squared equals 11 squared plus 12 squared minus 2. B and C, still 11 and 12. Still 11 and 12. 11 times 12. All right, everyone here, ready? Cosine, what's my angle? 100. I know it, it's 120 degrees. So whatever the value of cosine of 120 is, that's what's going to go there. All right, before we crunch numbers, questions you want to ask about what I just plugged in there? A, B, and C do not mean A, B, and C. A is the side across from the angle, and then B and C are the other two sides. All right, here we go. I am going to highly recommend to everyone that you do this all in one step in your calculator. Don't do it piece by piece. Here you go. I'll do it with you. So I have 11 squared. Fat fingers. Come on. 1 squared plus 12 squared. Make sure you hit the subtraction, not the negative sign. Subtract minus 2 times 11 times 12 times cosine button, 120. I highly recommend you do it all in one swoop.
Doesn't doing this though, does it group together all the 2 times 11?
Yep, it will do it. Yep, you don't have to worry about parentheses or anything. That's what's great about the calculator. Because of the operations we're doing in this order, your calculator knows what to do. Good question. So I get 397. That's not the side length yet, right? That's just what T squared is equal to. If you want to find out what T is equal to, we all know what to do now on both sides to get rid of the squared. Take the square root. And it does have rounding directions for this reason, because you're going to get a decimal answer. So nearest integer, whole number. And you get about 20 for T. And go ahead, Radhika.
On the test, if there was a question like this, would we have to simplify the radical, or would it be like?
No.
Okay.
No. Because I would have, nearest integer, nearest tenth, nearest hundredth, so you wouldn't have to worry about breaking it down. All right, and my answer's 20, and take a look. If I plug 20 in here for T, that kind of makes sense. Because is there going to be a bigger angle than 120? Absolutely not. You guys know that. You know your geometry. There's not going to be a bigger angle than 120. So if 120 is the biggest angle, it should be across from the biggest side, which it is. All good here so far. One doesn't make us far from great, but everyone all right with number 1 here? Questions at home? All right, different type of problem now. Still law of cosines, but go ahead, set up triangle ABC. However you want. Doesn't have to match mine. Side A and side C are given. Side A is 4, side C is 6. Cosine of B is 1/16. Find B. And again, maybe you get this question on the test and you're going to try law of sines. You're going to find out pretty quickly you don't have enough information to do law of sines. Plus, what does it give you, too, in the problem? Cosine B, right? So I probably shouldn't be doing anything with sines here. It gives me cosine B. All right. So let me just rewrite you guys don't have to. I just, since I'm on a different screen here, I got to rewrite the formula. Again, A does not mean A, B does not mean B, C does not mean C. This is going to be slightly different than the last problem. All right, guys, hey, what angle do I know some information about? A, B, or C? Here we go. Now let's get the fun going. Ready, Maeve? B. I know information about angle B. So what's the side across from B, Maeve? B. So that's what I'm starting the law of cosines out with. Remember, you always start law of cosines out with the side across from the angle you're working with. I am working with angle B, so I will start law of cosines out with the side across, which is B. So B squared equals, see how this could get tricky? Oh, you said A though. A does not mean A. A means the side across from the angle you're working with. All right, let's keep going. What are my other two sides? B and C. Other two sides? Let's keep going down the list. Oh, and what are my other two sides of the triangle?
6 and 4.
Okay, here we go. 6 squared plus 4 squared minus 2. 6 and 4 still. All right, now, hey, here we go now. This is where it's different than the first problem because I don't want to plug in cosine of 1/16. I know the cosine already, don't I? I gave it to you. What's the cosine of B? 1/16. There's no reason to put the cosine with it. I already know what the cosine is. Different if I give you the angle measure. If I give you the angle, then you got to put the cosine with it to find the value. But everybody see the difference between 1 and 2. I gave you the value of the cosine, so I just plugged it in. All right, now it's all calculator. All right, that was the only difference between number 1 and 2. I already actually knew the cosine value, so I just plug it in without the word cosine next to it. And you'll see, this is going back to kind of what Audrey asked earlier in class. You will see no rounding directions here because none are needed. Hopefully you guys get a beautiful number on your calculator that you like. A beautiful number. $49, nice number. Yeah, that's a nice number. B is equal to 7. Okay. Okay, any issues yet? So far, problems 1 and 2, you guys have solved for the left side. What if I ask you to solve for something on the right side now? Okay, how does that affect everything? All right, let's find out. Go ahead, set up number 3. We've solved for the left side only. What happens if I need to solve for something on the right side? Find cosine B now. What fraction is equal to the cosine of B? Kind of like last problem, right? I gave you cosine of B equals 1/16, but now I'm looking for that fraction here now. I'm looking for that fraction here. All right, so let me get down a little law of cosines here. A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine A. All right, we're actually going to plug a number in now. It's not going to be a variable on the left side. We're going to actually plug in a number now, whether it's 10, 5, or 7. That's what I need to find out from one of you guys. Oh, boom, here we go. Ryan, what angle am I working with in this problem?
Angle B,
Okay, so what side is across from angle B, Ryan?
lowercase b, or AC.
Which is how long?
7.
There you go. So that is what I'm going to start law of cosines out with here. 7, not 5 or 10. Everyone all right with that? I'm working with angle B. So
Why are you using 7?
okay, it says find cosine of B. So angle B is the angle we are targeting in this, or working with in this problem. And if you look across from angle B, I have side length of 7. And that's what I always start law of cosines out with, is whatever side is across from the angle we're working with. So that's why I put the 7 there. Other two sides now, 5 and 10. Minus 2 times 5, 10, times cosine, in this case, it's B. That's what we have to get by itself now. I need your help, algebra studs, to get cosine of B all by itself. I got to move everything else over. Get cos, because that's what we're solving for. Get cosine of B all by itself. All right, so this one's tough because I can't just go to the calculator and and it gives me a nice number to take the square root of. So I'm going to take this piece by piece here. 49, 25, 5 squared, plus 100, 10 squared. Yeah, 10, 100. Minus 2 times 5, which is 10. 10 times 10 is 100. All I did was square the numbers. That's it. All right. You cannot combine those 3 numbers on the right side. I cannot do 25 plus 100 minus 100. Here's why. Hey, here's why. I'll make it very easy on you. If you had this written down on your paper, 25 plus 100 minus 100x, are you going to combine all 3? Heck no, you're not going to combine all 3. You can't. One's got a variable, the other 2 don't. It's the same thing. Instead of an x, you got cosine B attached to the 100. You cannot combine all 3, but you can combine 2 of them. Which 2 can you combine? I can't combine all 3, obviously not. I just showed you that. But I can combine the 25 and the plus 100. So let's do that. So here you go, 49 equals 125 minus 100 cosine B. You cannot, I just showed you guys, it's like having an x there instead of cosine B. You cannot combine those 2. But I still need to get cosine B by itself. So maybe in your head, pretend there's an x there. What's your next move? What's my next step to getting cosine B by itself? Move the 125 over. Good. Subtract it over, everyone. Subtract the 125 over. We're getting there. We're getting there. Negative 76, I think. Equals. All right, be careful here. Common mistake. What's left on the right side? Yes, negative. Don't drop the negative. I don't know for what reason kids drop the negative all of a sudden. It's negative 100 cosine B. All right, cosine B is almost by itself. The cosine of B, almost. What do I do with the negative 100? Divide, yeah, divide it, please, because it's being multiplied. Divide both sides by negative 100. So the cosine of B. And I'd like you, just like I gave it to you in the last problem, leave it as a fraction, please. All right, leave it as a fraction. Just like I gave it to you as a fraction in problem 2, leave your answer as a fraction. So some of you guys don't know how to do that, that's fine. I'm going to say negative 76 divided by negative 100. It's going to give me a decimal. If you want that decimal back into a fraction, which I would appreciate, On the left side of your calculator, there's a math button. Left side, there's a math button. And the first choice is change it into a fraction. Choice 1, and it will do so. 19 over 25. So there is what the cosine of angle B, that ratio is, 19 over 25. So we solve for something other than the left side. Solve for cosine B. Questions? Yep, Quincy?
Well, I know that it's not right, but why can't we just like solve for the right side, like switch cosine B out for x, and then do it like we normally would, and then end up with some number of x, and then divide both sides by that number?
So instead of cosine B, put an x there?
Yeah.
You could put an x there. You're still going to have to move over. You still couldn't combine these three, though, right? Like if I write 25 plus 100 minus 100x, you're still only going to be able to combine 125 and the 100. Because one will have a variable, one won't. So I still can't combine them. You can still sub out. You can put in x if you want, if that makes it easier on you. That's fine. Everyone all right? Because I got one more step now. All right, the final problem is, what is the angle now? How many degrees in the angle? So we have to dig deep and figure out, if I find the cosine of the angle, what was that next step we talked about back in the day to get to the actual angle measure? And we're going to do that in number 4. You know how to do it. I just got to dig it out of you. So good old triangle red is isosceles, RE and ED 5 apiece. RD is 8. Find the measure of the vertex angle, E. All right, you got it, boss. You got it. Find angle E. All right. So I know all 3 sides, so I'm still going to plug in for A, B, and C, but now we're still going to do the same thing we did to number 3. You guys are going to get me to the point where you know what the cosine of the angle is equal to, and we'll see if I can dig it out of anybody how to go that next step. So what are you plugging in for A? What's your A value this time? What angle am I dealing with, and what's the side across from it? Here we go. Zach, you ready?
Yep.
What angle are we trying to find?
Angle E.
Okay, and then what side's across?
8.
8, there you go. So I'm going to start off with 8 squared. Other 2 sides, 5 and 5. Cosine, I don't want to put an A there. I'll put an E now because I'm talking about angle E. So cosine of E. All right, guys, same thing. Same thing we just did. I need you to get down to cosine E is equal to what fraction? And we'll see if we can figure out the angle from there. All right, so let's get cosine E all by itself. I got 64, and you guys can go ahead and race ahead of me. That's fine. 25 plus 25 minus, what do I have there, 50? Cosine E. We just talked in the last problem. We're not able to combine all 3, but I can at least add up the 2 25s. 50 minus 50 cosine E. And even if you guys happen to forget and did combine this, 50 minus 50, and you got 0 cosine E, you'd be like, oh boy, something's wrong, right? So move the 50 over, subtract it. 14, don't drop the negative sign on the right here. Negative 50 cosine E. Divide now. Divide both sides by negative 50. And hopefully now, I'll give you guys a second to catch up if you need it. Cosine E should be equal to negative 7 over 25. That's what the cosine of E is equal to. I am looking for angle E, though. I'll let everyone catch up, because this is a big moment for many of you. All right, we have done this before. When we talked sine, cosine, and tangent before break, if you knew the cosine of the angle, you knew that fraction, anybody remember how we got to the actual angle? I know what the cosine of the angle is. How did I find the angle then? It was this little calculator something here. What do you got, ladies? Go ahead.
Like the cosine with like the negative
Yeah.
one.
Inverse, right? If I knew the ratio, I had to do the inverse of what I was working with. There we go. There we go. So if you need angle E, I'm going to take the inverse of cosine, negative 7 over 25 in my calculator. Yes. So this is as far as I'm going to have you go with this law of cosines. And I believe there's rounding directions. A nearest degree. 106. Does 106 make sense for that angle?
Yeah.
Anybody want to let me know why it makes sense?
8 is the longest side.
And are you going to have a bigger angle than 106?
No.
No shot. So that makes sense. It should be across from 8, which is the biggest side. Okay, I am going to hold off on number 5. I'm sorry if some of you guys started it already. I'm just going to hold off because I want you guys to start the assignment tonight and practice on your own right now. Okay, so that's what I want everyone to start with. Before you do that, hold on. I got one last comment about law of sines. I will never ask you to solve for B or C. Never. Okay, I am only going to ask you to solve for the side across from the angle, the cosine of the angle, or the angle. I will never ask you to solve for B or C, guys. All right, so make sure you're never in that position because I'm never going to do that to you. All right, go ahead. You can start the assignment out of the book. I want at least 10 minutes to have you guys practice on your own. We'll save number 5 for review.